in the tradition of the great exhibition shooters and showmen from the past. Today's expert marksmen challenge themselves in speed and accuracy. What they do with pistol, rifle, longbow, and shotgun deserves the title. These are the impossible shots.
Welcome to Impossible Shots. I'm Rob Youngblood, and today we have two of your favorite shooters lined up. A little bit later, we are headed out west to California, where Cisco is going to try the classic shooting display of El Presidente, but he is going to put his own cowboy style on it, fast draw style, and he's going to be using two guns. But first, we are headed back to the Bayou, where Mr. Miculek will also be using two guns, and he'll be firing them at the same time, a revolver and a rifle, one in each hand, and one will be moving. Let's see if he can pull off this impossible shot. Go ahead, try it. Pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time. Not that easy, is it? We've all heard of that little exercise. Well, what Jerry Miculek is about to do is the shooting equivalent, and it's every bit as hard as patting and rubbing. Two guns, two hands, multiple targets, and everything happening at once.
It's going to be a big gumbo.
That's Louisiana speak for a lot of things in the mix. Jerry has pulled off some impressive shots in the past. He has been fast, accurate, he's been creative, and he has been fun. But he has never tried something like this. With so much going on, let's jump right into this Impossible Shots challenge.
The key thing here is to keep one firing while I'm doing something with the other one.
The first one that Jerry is talking about is the rifle in the left hand. It is, of course, his trusty Smith & Wesson M&P 1522. He will be using it to nail 20 shots on his steel target. The other one that Jerry is referring to is the Smith & Wesson Performance Center 627 revolver. That's in his right hand. He'll be drawing it and mowing down 6 targets at the same time that he is firing the rifle with the other hand. The ultimate goal, 26 hits. And the challenges for this impossible shot are endless.
The big thing here is once I mount the rifle on the stationary target and start firing, I can't move my body at all. If I address any movement toward the target rack, like I've trained all my life, I'm going to sweep the rifle off target. So I have to mount it, keep my body stationary, and move the handgun only, and fire this finger independent of this one while looking at this dot and at this dot, and make sure I don't look downrange to see the plates fall. But other than that, I've got nothing to do.
Sounds more like Mr. Miculek has plenty to do. First, he decides to warm up a little with just the revolver and the row of 6 targets.
All right.
Okay, well then, so much for needing a warm-up. One try and bingo, he cleans the rack.
I know you like it on the first run.
Time to move along, but Jerry quickly admits that the next step in this challenge will be much tougher.
It's just getting started, right? Just the rifle part's going to be hard.
Hard could be an understatement, even for this shooting legend. Locking the M&P on target with just one hand, and it's his weak hand, and then nailing 20 consecutive shots. After he warms up with the 1522, he is ready to give it a try. But keep in mind, he nailed the warm-up with 2 hands. To pull off the impossible shot, he will only be able to use one hand to hold the gun.
I'm going to stand in an unnatural rifle position for me, so I can keep myself a little bit square for the targets. So I'm going to mount it, have to hold it up with one hand, lock the wrist, keep the muzzle from jumping around, and keep the trigger pressing straight to the rear and make sure it doesn't get out of the target zone. It's kind of a scary thing.
When a world-class shooter like Jerry calls a challenge scary, then you know it's going to be really hard to pull off.
The hard part now is keeping the rifle running independent of the handgun. I got to separate my vision between the rifle and the handgun. They both need attention.
Okay, it's time to pull out both guns and tackle this impossible shot.
Dog it. Dog it, dog it, dog it, dog it, dog it, dog it, dog it.
Right after the break, Jerry keeps trying to pull off the impossible with both guns working at once.
That's the hard part. I have to mount the rifle and keep it firing on one target. When I bring up the handgun and I go to transition, I have to leave my body behind.
Shooting USA's Impossible Shots, reporting the stories of the world's best exhibition shooters.
Jerry Miculek is getting ready to try one of his hardest impossible shots yet. He's using his two guns, the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 in his left hand and the Smith & Wesson Performance Center 627 revolver in his right. He's trying to hit 26 total shots, and he is shooting both guns at the same time.
So this has to keep firing, and I'm listening to make sure I'm hitting the target. And with my right eye, I'm going to follow the dot and then periodically look back through my left eye and see where the rifle is, and not try to get the fingers interacting with one another because they want to run together.
Jerry first warmed up with each gun separately, but that was easy shooting. Now he needs to step it up. Time to pull all the elements and both guns together and pull off this impossible shot. Right away, Jerry realizes that shooting the 1522 with only one hand is going to be really difficult.
But I have to mount the rifle and keep it firing on one target. When I bring up the handgun and I go to transition, I have to leave my body behind. So I'm going to start the trigger sequence long before I get to the target. As I find the target zone, I have to finalize the trigger pull and not disturb what I see on the sight.
It is a challenge that goes against every shooting technique he has ever learned and all the work he has ever done.
It's so hard to keep your body stationary when you train your whole life to track with the handgun. Now I can't.
After a few more runs, Jerry starts to get all the mechanics down.
Man, that was going good. Oh, right at the end, right at the end.
Jerry starts heating up the range.
Here we go.
And on the next attempt, he nails the impossible. Or so he thinks.
19.
Yep, 19. Just one tiny miss on the left steel with the rifle. Oh, so close. What happened?
I got distracted. I had a bad presentation coming into one of the pistol targets, and I looked at it really hard, and instead of moving my hand, my body moved, and that's it. It's a miss.
So he knows the problem.
Yeah, ready?
Let's see if he can correct it.
Here we go. Got off to the right, just a hair.
Jerry does the exact same thing on the next attempt.
So it's a lot of unlearning here. It's probably going to screw the whole season up. But I'm just going to have to separate it all. I'm starting to feel that the actual muscle memory that I need to do here and what's going on. So just a matter of putting 3 to 4 together and make it happen.
Finally, after a couple more tries, he makes it happen.
Wow. It looks pretty simple. This is really hard. I've learned a lot here in the few minutes that I've been doing this. We're going to do the 3-gun stuff now. I can have one rifle and one pistol and run and have a shotgun somewhere. We can make it happen.
The difficulty of that challenge is exactly what makes our shooters the best in the business.
I can shoot 2 at a time. So you can't chew gum and walk at the same time.
Well, we've done it. 100,000 subscribers and growing, and for that, we thank you. If you're interested in seeing full-length current Shooting USA shows, literally the morning after they debut on the network, there's a link in the video description below. A modest subscription price gets you access to over 50 hours of full-length current Shooting USA shows. If you're enjoying the YouTube content, please consider subscribing, leave a like and a comment. It really helps with the algorithm.